And because of my role over the years, I tended to go into teams that are doing badly to help turn them around. I'm looking forward to getting a call from a team that's winning things for a change, so I can have a few people. You keep getting these calls. Can you help us turn things around? I'm getting bored of battling away. And you're going in there, and the first thing you realise is the team spirit can diminish. And one of the keys is to bring that back into it again. We're allowed to laugh, regardless of how serious the circumstances are or what the situation is. Have you ever seen the film or the Patch Adams? The guy that would go in with that would use humour to help cure people. That was based. The main star was Robin Williams, who was playing the part of Patch Adams, a famous physician who used laughter to help people overcome their ailments, and it worked effectively. Amongst a lot of physiological things that laughter does, and releasing certain chemicals that do make us feel better, it has a massive positive effect. And to be able to laugh in certain situations is key. Creating that banter, and it's the key, albeit I would wait for the right time and get the right rapport to do that. I had a guy on the course I was teaching on the weekend that said, I've just read this book by Mr. Bandler, and he says that laughter is fantastic for therapy. What do you think? I said, yeah, providing you're doing it at the right time in the right set of circumstances. Don't do it if someone comes in asking you to overcome a particular issue where they might walk back out again. So at the right time, yeah, great. In the right way, fantastic. Building a good team spirit, and that can work in business too. Going into an office, there's nothing worse than going in when everyone tends to be in a certain situation. I was doing some work for a business not long ago, and one of the areas they cited was their finance department is not functioning a certain way, and I think you go in there, and it was the best atmosphere to say the least. And we felt that just going back to basics, building maybe a gratitude list or a strength list, and looking at ways that we can improve the camaraderie and team spirit by even integrating them with other people too. So laughing is key. Being able to laugh, generate different chemicals in our mind, stimulate our endorphins. And I think all equally, the team spirit. Have you ever been in a situation where you get on really well with your colleagues and you have the banter and time goes a lot faster and you get the extra output as well? So laughter is a big part and an essential part of success in different elements of success. Okay, so before we close for this evening, just to share a story, because a lot of the time people say to me, okay, you do these techniques, you do these strategies, you're working with these highly motivated performers and all the rest of it really. And I think that these strategies, you don't have to be an Olympic champion or a top footballer or top sports person or top like business person to incorporate these. These strategies are effective for all people at all levels. On one of the shows I did a long time ago when I was doing some work for the Beeb, not far from here, we had a show, we had a segment, and I'd just come out of working for a team for a long time, 4 or 5 years been involved with a certain team. We won a lot of things and did really well. And all of a sudden I was working in different environments. I set up a business doing work with people in different areas. And I was on this show. We developed a new program for the Beeb, not far from here. And we wanted to get people coming along to see if they could overcome different limitations in their life, which was fine. The first person who came along, the producer mentioned, I've got someone for you. I said, okay, that's great. So someone would like to lose a few pounds, maybe a couple of stone, get into great shape. I said, that's fine, we can do that. Walk in the park. And then the list went on. Well, by the way, her doctor's just told us she's got a thyroid condition, so she might not be able to lose weight. Okay. She's also got arthritis, so she can't run or walk very far. Okay. She's also never exercised for the last 30, 40 years. So the list was going on and on and on. I thought, what am I getting myself into here? And it was amazing. The journey commenced. And we'd use these principles. I said, we're going to use these principles, we're going to transfer them across to you to achieve. And it all started in the beginning with an outcome. And the outcome was to lose a couple of stone. As the program went on, we achieved so much. A 64-year-old woman who had recently retired at the time, wanted to lose a little bit of weight, who was told by a GP that we're going to find it very difficult medically because their thyroid condition, started with an outcome. And along the way, there were so many amazing things that we'd managed to achieve using some of these principles. We helped her overcome a phobia she had of swimming. She'd incurred at 8 years of age. At 64, she tried everything she possibly could to overcome the pheriophobia. We overcame that and overcome a number of things. And her life had changed dramatically. She went from not going out and not seeing anybody and not doing anything to joining dance classes, exercise classes, Tai Chi classes, booking her first holiday in many years. And actually, the swimming was all about being able to swim on the holiday she'd booked to Spain. So we'd use these techniques, even to the point where one of the colleagues I was working with, who was very much into exercise, I noticed in the background was taking a running at Heaton Park, and I thought, she's got arthritis and he's going to collapse. What you do? It was truly amazing how the mind can change. So we don't need to be, and it's not about being a top class Olympic athlete or football or a top flight business person. All our goals are relative to us, and success is relative to us. So regardless of who you are, what you do, some of these principles can be the difference that makes the difference. We don't live in an airy-fairy world where it's not about putting these techniques together and everything is smooth sailing. There were times, even with Margaret and Nabeem, where we had our ups and downs, but we got there in the end. And we keep in touch, and always nice to see how she transformed her life, doing these techniques. So I truly believe as a coach, it's not about us as the coach, it's about letting the techniques work. Because we've learned from other people and passing them on and taking ourselves away from the actual techniques and strategies and just letting them do their course. So I think regardless of who you are and what you do, some of these principles and some of these techniques can help you fulfill your life and fulfill your potential. NLP is about modeling what works, about looking at people who are achieving excellence and eliciting that and transferring across or using it for us. If we're going to run that marathon, we learn from someone who's done that before. That's not to say the person who's run the marathon didn't come across any challenges, not to say we're not as well. There will be a time we need to roll our sleeves up as well along the way, along the journey too. So the concept of the easy life doesn't exist. It's about rising to the challenges going forward. So that brings a close to this evening. It's been great. If there's any questions, feel free to fire away. But I'd like to thank everyone for coming and Andy for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
I've got a question if no one else has. You were talking before about team morale and banter and stuff. Any specific tips for, whether from NLP or from something else, for improving team morale? Because NLP's got loads and loads of stuff for working with individuals. I'm just very interested in teams at the moment.
Yeah, one of the key things that we do, Andy, one of the things that I do to build things, and depending on where the team is at the time, I like to get people to, a technique I use, for example, you may have come across before, is for each individual to write one strength or one positive quality of the person sitting next to them. Mm-hmm. And it has an amazing, powerful effect. If you know the person next to you has identified that key strength in you, then that's giving you that sense of belief. It's a good place to start, and it's a good place to start breaking the ice and building that team morale. Also, giving people the opportunity to do things that, taking them away from the environment sometimes, whether it's watching a film, going to a show, sometimes going away from the technique, sometimes actually doing something that's going to bring a few laughs and a few smiles, doing something different. I think it works really well when you've got that team bonding. One of the things that we did is we took a group of players once to the Lake District to do, not team building techniques, but certain exercises where it got them laughing. It just broke their state. Things were really tense. They kept going over the same negatives all the time. We need to get so many points for the end of the season. Let's take away from that, detach ourselves from that, and do some sort of techniques, some strategies, some games, and get out there, fun and games, and enjoy ourselves. So sometimes it's about putting games together, things that are going to work. I think certain things that work really well is people identifying key strengths of other people. Because one of the things is as well is I always put to people when I do courses, certain courses, I'll say, okay, when was the last time that you've been praised in your role? Or when was the last time you've given praise